thinking our T12 is good. T12 range is still pretty good, though a lot of people after T16 have started focusing on T13. We still do like a lot of T12 range. Even for calves, we do quite a bit of T12, though it is T13 heavy. T12 siege is absolutely useless except for a layer in defense. And T12 ground, I think, is absolutely useless because for ground, you want top heavy. If T12s were good for attacks, are they better for defense too? Again, depends. Like for siege, I would just go higher tier. Higher tier is the best for defense. And if you're looking to defend from range, T9 and T10 siege are very good. Uh, but yeah, for defense, I think I would just go higher tiers. Aren't T4 to T7 awful for points? T1 to T4 is awful for points for siege, but for all other troops, it's not bad. The only thing is,
Yeah, that's a feature.
yeah, can you just share the other gears also, please? The only thing about a T1 to T4 for others is like if you don't have refines backing them up, they will get like cleared like they will give a big clear. Like I know a castle which has a lot of T1 to T4 ground, and that gets cleared like really bad in calves. Matt, can you share the others too, please?
Aperture, okay,
All the 5 gears, please.
okay. I'm also changing something, okay?
Okay. And when you say your T1s don't work, are you talking about a solo or a rally?
Oh, already.
How big are you, mate?
39.
No, no. Like size wise,
Okay, troop details.
not troop details. Like total power.
Total power. 6B.
Okay. So I'm gonna tell you which you're probably not gonna like. Uh,
Oh,
at 6B, you're not supposed to take a rally. It's like, I
no,
mean,
I
I've
am
seen,
only I am only one trap. A T1 traps.
yeah, even a
Uh,
T1 trap for a range rally. Like it depends on which team is rallying. But at 6B, you're probably getting one tapped, bro. Like even with the perfect refines and the perfect trap, you're still getting one tapped. Uh, just share the other. I will tell you like if I see anything wrong with it. Wouldn't pure trap be better with archer attack debuff sub general on the wall? Oh, okay. This is an interesting question. Uh, so Egon, I am not very sure about it. Someone who has actually like it depends on what kind of trap it is. For cav trap, it probably makes sense to build archer debuff more than buffs because you're not really like the percentage buffs don't really help that much. You are really looking at flats rather than percentages. So I would choose debuffs over buffs in that case. But I am not sure like how it works practically. We probably need someone with practical experience to tell us exactly what it does. Do assistant wall general need gears? I mean, if you have extra gears, you can always put it on them, but they basically don't do anything.
I have a
I
question
use
about the siege, the T9 and T10 siege. You said you works well with traps. Like what
No, no,
amount
I
of
didn't say
layers?
it works. I didn't say it works well with traps. I said that T9 and T10 is great against a range rally.
Ah, okay, okay. What kind of layers would you recommend on that?
It's not layers. I would just train as much T10 and T10, T9 and T10 as you can train. But as Rez said, T9 and T10 are for bigger keeps. It's not for, because
Yeah,
T9 and T10 is basically you're looking to tank a range rally. You don't do it as a trap.
right. Makes sense. Thank you.
Oh, how about you? Matt, whenever you can, just share the rest of the gears, please, and the dragon also. Surya, you are on the call.
Wait.
Uh, am I hearable now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I built an pyramid trap as you mentioned in one of your previous videos, like 200 million T7 and below with T1 maxed out. But generally against the teams we are facing now with 6K buffs, they are not working even against a cav rally or a ground rally, not just against range rally. What advice you would give uh, to improve that trap a bit more?
So, so as we already discussed, traps are not like a cash trap shouldn't be taking a range rally. You can, especially without ruins. But a calf
Yeah.
truck shouldn't be taking a range rally. Like, I mean, on a calf track, you might try taking a ground rally. It might work. It might not. But if your refines and all are good, and the and the other team's rally is not strong, it can work on a ground rally. But at the end of the day, like if it's same for a bigger keep. Like if you know your siege buffs are not great, you shouldn't take a siege rally. Like you build a keep, like even bigger keeps build it for something or the other. Like they either build it for siege defense or they build it for cap defense, right? So, well, like some people really increase the mounted HP, some people go very high on siege attack. So depending on what type of keep you have built, that's the kind of rally you take. Like at the end of the day, they are also like building buff to so that they can rally, right? So you can't just mechanics your way out of building a cap trap and taking a range rally and expecting to go positive.
Um, do what are the like counter troops we have to like train more? For example, I have only built calves and just some range. Do you think
You,
the
um,
ground
you, you can build ground, but if you're just a trap, your ground against like you're talking about 6K buffs, which is not normal. Like if you're talking about 6K buffs and you're saying that I will take a opposing side rally and I'm a trap, your ground buffs will not be enough to stop their range.
um, do you think that number should be increased? Like you said, 200 million in the video. Do you think it should go for 300 million for T7 and below?
Problem here is not the quantity. No matter what quantity you have, or you can't take opposite side opposite troop rally and expect to do very well on it. So, for example, like Geek and Zero has probably like one of the best buffs I've seen, and on a full RSP rally, they'll lose 7 or 8 B. So, if the rally is with on the opposite troop type, you just can't say that I will go positive just because I have more troops.
Uh,
And you're
I
not doing very bad here. I just saw that you're not doing very bad here. The almost
well,
almost equal power exchange. Though there you have reigns. I don't know what reigns there are, but almost equal power exchange.
yeah, I mean that was good report I have found, but there are many bad reports, right?
Yeah,
Um,
and it's a rally by Fahad. Fahad's like one of the best buffs in the game. So
yeah, that's true. But um, do you think like should I build a siege or should I avoid? Until now, I avoided siege building siege troop. I have just 1 million each layer and some T13s to join some rallies. That's it. I mean, because I am crossing 20 billion now, should I be like training some siege or should I stay at being trap?
you can build some siege to join rallies and all, but like at these buffs, you are going to get siege soloed, which is not a problem. Like you lose, like on a good siege solo, you will lose like 2k, 2 billion or something. But yeah, that's the price of building siege. And if you look at the report, like he's like it's your range attack debuff is 1500 to his range attack of 6423. So just more building more troops is not gonna help the power exchange.
Yeah, but I got like Andrew Jackson to 10 star. I'm F2P. F2P. I'm just VIP 15. So I just got Andrew Jackson's. That's it. Like I mean, I can't get any
Yeah,
more good sub city
I
general.
understand, but you also have to understand that like it is a P2W game, so they will
Yeah.
have stuff that P2W does better than FTP, right? So that's the point. So I mean, I don't think like I mean, like just look. I need to see your generals, but looking at the reports and everything, and the troop types you have said, I don't think there is much wrong except that you're taking the wrong rallies.
Okay. I mean, what should be my next like? I'm now only at K40. Should I go K41 or like
Have the tactics scroll. If you have the tactics scrolls, of course go K41.
okay.
Uh, and if you don't have the tactics scrolls, then probably not much point of go K40 of going K41. And you can train Siege T9, T10, T13, T14. You can train Siege. There is no problem. You just get hit for a lot in SVS. Don't drop bubble in SVS if you see someone like Fahad. But otherwise, for battlefields, it's fine. You can train Siege.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, bro. Okay, we can hear you.
Hi guys. Hi Viper. I got home a bit early, so I thought I'd pop in. One thing that I'd add is, you're saying you're F2P, and like Viper said, this is a pay-to-win game. So being F2P is fine, but you also need to understand the limitations that come with being F2P. So if you're gonna, just build troops and then expect it to do well while you don't have the debuffs and buffs, that doesn't work, right? You're taking a ranged rally, you've got a cab trap, and you're taking a ranged rally, and you've got a lot of troops that help you survive. And there's a big difference, like between being a trap and having a meat shield, right? Being a trap is what I'd say. Okay, you can't survive a rally, but you can take hits and then go positive on it. Whereas when you have a meat shield, you're doing it so you can survive longer and you can join rallies and things like that. So there is a big difference there. And you can't be 20B and say I'm a trap. That doesn't work. You will lose a lot of points. You can't, you know, like being F2P and being that size that you are, there is no getting around it. You are going to lose points. But then that becomes a question of, okay, what is your end goal? Like my end goal is, for example, to survive as long as possible and be able to join rallies. And that's kind of what I'm building to, right? So yes, I may lose like a lot of power against a strong rally, but that's kind of understood. That's kind of okay. I'm willing to live with it. You can't have everything.
Okay. So as Viper said, should I train some siege then below T11?
Again, he said you can train whatever you want, but he also said you're gonna get seed soloed for 2B. So it's a question of, is that okay for you? Is that okay with your team? It's a, you know you've got to decide how you want to build your keep. You've got to get it clear with your team. Like if my team wasn't okay with me losing 4-5B on a range rally, then I wouldn't do that. It's just what works for you and your team.
Is there any advice for majors? I got into first time, so should I try in some troops before it, or should I just leave it as it is?
Which continent are you in?
C2.
Um, I wouldn't recommend training troops. Your debuffs are just too low.
Yeah, like
You're,
a hundred
you know,
million rally, 100 million rally, any which way is gonna just wipe everything at these buffs and debuffs. So I would like, as Rom said, I would rather. But I mean, yeah, you can probably take a cab or a ground, but I'm not sure if even then you will be able to take that. So yeah, I would probably like look to have as much speed as I can and heal as necessary.
Okay. I mean,
one
any
thing I would
advice like
add is like, don't um because if you get hit and if you full heal, people will hit you again, but don't make that cost the win to your team. Like reality is, if your team loses, you're also hampering your own chances to progress. Because if the team wins, then it's 20 people from that team progressing. But if your team comes third or fourth, then you've got to be in the top 10 with points. So don't cost your team's victory because you want to progress. It's just counteractive because it's your first time in All Stars. Like everyone's gonna say, "Oh, it's an individual competition." You don't have to care about team and stuff, but you just have to because if your team wins, you just have to outscore 5 people. If your team comes fourth, you have to outscore. You know, how much is it? 20 people, 40 people per team. Yeah, you've got to outscore a lot more people, like 100 people, to be able to get in there. If
I
you
mean,
can do
any
buildings,
advice
like
to
increase your reinforcement capacity. So, if you are getting rallied, then you could work with your team to set a trap and have them rain you, and then you take a rally. But other than that, I think you just enjoy the experience. I mean, if it's your first time, it's for fun, right? I mean, you are a free-to-play player, but even whether you're free to play or whether you're coining, we play for fun. So it's just, enjoy the experience, see what comes out of it, and yeah, take it from there.
any advice to increase debuff? Like any more I can do with the limitations I have?
It's hard as F2P, but I still think you can push it a little bit more. You could probably be aiming for 1800 range attack debuff, even as F2P. Just, it's going to be a longer grind kind of thing, but look at the gear that you've got on your subgens and see what are the gear that are going to increase your range attack debuff, and just put them on your subgens.
Okay. I mean, some people advise me like generally, even if you increase your range attack debuff in range rally, you will lose. So it's better to increase calves or ground since you can win those. What do you think about that?
Yes, I agree. Like a calf trap is gonna get decimated by ranged anyway, but you can't also like you've also got to account for the troops that you have, right? And what
Yeah.
if what you said is true, your account is filled with mostly cav troops. So, a ground rally, yes, you can debuff ground and maybe you can take a ground rally and survive it. But you've also grown to a size where at 20B, even in All Stars, I don't think anyone's in prelims, I don't think anyone's going to straight ground a 20B keep. So it's also a matter of what would you get hit by. You know, you've got to you can't debuff something that you're not going to get hit with, and then hope for that to work. Because if nobody's going to cav you at 20B, then you're not gonna, you can have all the cav debuffs in the world. It's not going to be useful, is it?
Okay, I mean, what do you think I will get most probably attacked with on this weekend? Cav or range?
One of the two.
I don't think that's the question that can be answered. Like, everyone has a different way of doing things. Like, I see K40, I don't even see the power. I'll ground. I straight ground it. Every setter has a different way of doing things. Like, to be honest, like, how ViG became ViG. Very interesting story. So I would actually like set calves on 40B, and I would splat all the time. And the team didn't want me to look bad, so they coined more and more so that calving of 40B or 50B was possible. That's how ViG was made. So it depends on who's setting on you. You just can't have like one answer for all of this. Like I see 30B, I still set calves. Like
Bro, you've
Trillium
gone
said,
at
yeah,
50D now, to be fair.
yeah, yeah. Even 50B, at 50B, I still set calves. Like if I see K42 50B, totally set calves on it.
Okay, thanks for answering.
Okay, I have a question. So, how important are blazons as far as trap keeps go? Or how unimportant? What are your thoughts on that?
Any avenue for buffs is important. Like, wherever you can get them from, whether you're a trap or not. Like, if, I'd say prioritize a few of the blazons over others if you're like a pure trap keep. Prioritize the Mount HP ones and things like that. But, any avenue for buffs is important. It's like, the question then becomes, because with blazons, like, it's just a roll of the dice. You get what you get, and you have to keep doing it until you get the proper ones. So just keep working away at it. Like, I don't, what else are you gonna go do with it?
Hello? Did we just lose everyone?
No,
Nobody's
can still hear
talking.
you.
Oh,
Vin
okay.
has a good trap account, so he's wanting to know like what can he do better.
Um, calf, K40 calves. Tap, trap, take ground and calf solo with low loss from K44 and K45, but siege hurt me more than what I need to improve. Okay, see, if you have siege or even sometimes archers, you just can't not get hurt by siege. Siege is a mega coiner's game. So I mean, there's just no way you can mechanics. No, it was not a siege rally though. It was like they have like troops in like the report you shared. They have like a 5.1 and 21 million. So it is a rally what you shared, and I don't think like there is any way you can actually mechanics out not getting siege soloed for 1 billion. To be honest, like they are going to eat all your siege if you're a trap and you have built 1 billion of siege. Billion power, I mean. Do we have any more questions? Okay,
So
yeah,
Viper,
I
when are you
can.
gonna play a trap account, huh? Like an actual trap account?
I did actually play like yeah, Griso and like but maybe their archers are getting smacked too. You just can't help it. Uh, like if you actually like so basically in Kali, I'll come to your question in a second. So
Mhm.
actually, very interesting thing. If you actually get an archerine on a trap which has just archers, your archers don't get decimated. Like when I actually saw a trap keep, and I thought I can just siege the archers also reinforcements, and I could not. It didn't work. This was back when I had a keep. Sorry, Kali, what was your question?
No, the question was when are you gonna play a trap keep? Because you said you've never played
I
one.
I,
Is it
I will
tempting?
play. No, it's not. I don't have the patience to actually, like as a trap keep, you're looking to get hit. I don't have that kind of patience. So
You'd rather be
yeah,
offensive than defensive.
I don't think I have that kind of. I know other alliances with a lot of K45s who would probably be very good at playing trap keeps because they're very good at reading and not really playing offense. So maybe they can play, but I don't think like we are. I mean, I don't think I could ever play a trap account. I don't have that kind of patience. And I have like a lot of rich people around me, like Geek and Zero, so I can just play their accounts. Okay, Test to Survive was ground solo march from K40. I saw a few, including K39 calf trap, also one tap. So just to answer your question, oh sorry, I need to like read it out aloud, right? Sorry, where did that question go? Fuck. Yeah, tips to survive a solo march from ground solo march from K45 44. I said I saw a few, including K39 cap trap, also one tap. There is no way a good there is no way a good K39 trap can get one tapped by K45's ground solo. There is no way. Just do the basics right. Have mounted HP on all the refines flats, mounted defense refine flats, mounted attack refine flats. Dragon also mounted HP or attack refine flats. There is no way, and if you can get those battlefield the SVS, what you get from SVS, uh, those the fifth specialty from that battle tested or
Battle
something like
tested.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, battle tested. Just get all of that. There is no way you're getting soloed at K39. Rom, you want to add something?
No, I agree. It's if you're getting one tap soloed at K39, that's probably because you haven't built right. And if you're specifically like at K39, you're most likely to get hit with ground. So I equip subgens with gear that are gonna debuff ground. There's a lot of gear that debuff ground, HP, and defense. So put them all on your subgens. Have proper flat refines on your dragon and on your Walgen gear, and there is no way a K45 is gonna clear you with one solo. Asina, you've come
Yeah,
up on stage if you want to ask your question.
sure. I actually have a couple of questions. So I guess one leads into the other. What power should you stay under to entice people to try and solo you as a trap?
I don't
Yeah.
think there's a one answer to that. Like geek, like like someone says 12 billion and they rally geek 612 billion and uh, sees points. Console sees 30 billion K45 and he thinks like I can solo this for points. Jabok says K45 50 billion and he says like actually I was playing in GOT once and I posted some 3 billion and Jabok was like, yeah, no, this is too small for me. And he tried to solo 50 billion K45. So it just depends on, like how adventurous the other person is feeling. But like 4B, 5B, you probably getting soloed. But again, like in a tough match, we wouldn't just blind solo anyone, to be honest. Like,
Okay.
to be honest, like at 16B, I'll blind solo siege. If I see a K41 16B, I'll blind solo siege. But if I see a 5B, I won't blind solo ground.
Okay. So that kind of leads into my other question of like how many of other troop types should you have in each layer besides if you're like a mounted trap?
I mean, it depends. Like again, I explained before. Are you talking about being a pure trap where your objective is not lose as many points and go positive on the exchange?
Probably
Or
positive.
yeah, okay. So it's not survivability where you're okay with losing points.
I mean, yeah, I want to come out points positive. I'd like to survive, but I mean, coming out points positive, I feel like it's a fine line between having enough troop layers to survive versus you're no bleeding points and it's not really worth it.
Yeah, exactly. Then that's kind of the answer in itself, isn't it? Like if you're a cav trap, right, and you build a lot of siege or ranged or ground, and you don't have the buffs to support them, because being a cav trap, you're focused on your calves primarily because they, and rightfully so, because they form the most of your keep. Then if I see a ground, I'm gonna hit it with cav to get the top tier ground.
Hmm.
When you scout a trap keep, the first thing that you see is, okay, he's got 2 billion T1 cav, so there's no point in trying to clear him off in one hit. So what can I hit him with, him or her with, that's gonna give me points out of it? Like if you've got siege, you're getting sieged. If you don't have enough siege layers, but you've got thick archers, you're getting sieged again. If you've got a lot of top tier cav as well, you're getting range to get those. So it's, if your objective is to stay point positive, then you just have to stay mean in terms of layers and just have a strong wall down the bottom.
Okay. How would you help protect
Or
your
what
arch?
you could do is you could potentially have like one march of something, right? Like say one march of top tier cav. Uh, when the person scouts you, you let them see that, and then you ghost them or hide them somehow, and
Yeah.
you just yeah, basically bait them into hitting you with something, and then you hide it and you go positive on that.
So
Because if you don't
my
have anything worth hitting, people might not hit you at all.
right, right. Because the other thing is, how do you protect your archers from like a siege solo? Besides, I mean, I've tried doing that to where you unghost your calves if you don't have them all shown. But what's another good way to try to protect your archers from a siege solo?
Ghost your archers.
I mean,
Rom, what
Like again,
what happens?
you can't protect. Yeah.
Rom, what happens if you like have like maybe 150K of siege layers? Does siege still get to archers?
I mean, it depends on, at those layers, probably it still does get to archers. Depends on how strong the enemy is that is hitting you. Because you're not gonna have enough to hit back at the siege, right? So you're gonna give the siege enough
Yeah,
turns until your ground or calves get to it.
yeah.
So it all depends on the enemy who's hitting you. But
So
yeah, you can't protect your archers from against a strong siege solo. Like the only way is that they're not in the keep and not involved in the attack, so ghosting them works.
I just throw them in other people's keeps.
Yeah,
Like it's
I mean,
quicker
yeah,
than
just get rid
ghosting.
of them. Hmm.
Yeah, just throw them in somebody's keep, and then if I
Yeah,
need them, I can just pull them back really quickly. So,
yeah.
I mean, that's just what I do. But I probably shouldn't be telling everybody that. But
No, but the thing is, there is pros and cons to it as well, right? Like with
right,
anything, if you've sent it out to someone and then you need to pull it back before you can port, or if you're on the
right,
enemy server, you can't bubble. If you're on your server, you can. In Battlefield, you can't bubble. So,
right,
pros and cons to it. Like ghosting, if you get used to ghosting and you're quick at it, you could literally drop the ghost in a second and you're gone. Whereas
right. But
pulling back a march, you got to pull the march back, and there's also always
that
sort
port,
of, the
yeah,
glitch with the marcher turning. It gets stuck at 0-0, so you're opening yourself to a world of pain. Or someone could hit you in the meantime, and get that march, or worst case scenario, you get zeroed because you had to port at that time.
right. Well,
So
I'm not a trap keep, so that's not really a trap keep. But I think that depends on like your teammates and if they are quick to like rain. I
yeah,
think it works out in your favor a lot of the times. So um, I guess I'm lucky I have a team. But my question
I guess
actually, Senna can go ahead with her
I
question.
was gonna say, well, it seems like a lot of time when we're trying to entice like a solo, like, we're not necessarily around the other people on our team to like
mhm.
just show rain. Like we want to seem vulnerable. We want to seem like we're by ourselves. So it just gets quite complicated with trying to unghost and ghost like so many times. Like you practice at it and you get as good as you can, but um, especially with how often they change generals, it's hard to memorize what every general does. So I just didn't know if there was like, any other tricks or anything that you could do for that.
So I just wanted to answer what Viper was saying, or what he asked. He said, if you have 150k siege layers, if you're a trap keep that has like 1800 buffs, and you have the 150 siege layers, and then you have like 2 million top tier archers, yeah, you're pretty much any type of 3000 siege buff is going to clear through all of those and hit your archers every time. I think the biggest thing that people need to realize is if you're going to play a trap keep, you need to know your enemy. If people are taking out your archers, don't heal them, or ghost them, um, And if you see, you have to learn how to pay attention to dragons as well. So when you see an archer dragon coming at you, you can unghost your grounds or whatever you need to do. Um, that's the biggest thing is you have to know your enemy, and you have to be smart, and you have to be devious.
Uh, can I add something? I used to have on my old server a trap keep, very well built trap keep, because I was a portal player, and the question was always, if you are hit with siege, will your range survive? So there was different types of attacks. When you have usually the siege ended up on my T1 cuffs, and they ended up when I started to build up buffs, so range HP and ground HP. So even if you don't have a big amount of upper layers, my range wasn't dying, and the siege was usually killed by my T2 and my T1s. So this is one of the advice that should be given for the trap keeps. Whenever they build, they really need to build up HP and range HP. So I started to build uh, bigger layers of range. So my trap keep was stronger, and it could hold 5k buffs. Always, they with uh, I was was
Is it my internet or is she breaking up?
No, it's her.
Okay.
so
OJ, you're breaking up really bad.
ground very, very important. So this is my internet. I'll try to move closer. Okay, do you hear me now, guys? Hello, do you hear
Yeah.
me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know where did I break, so I will have to repeat again. This usually the siege solo didn't hurt me, and my range survived because siege was ending up on my cuffs, and I solved this with building up range HP and ground HP in city ground buffs. And the biggest damage that was making every time was range attacks, and especially to those who really know how to play it. And when they send small range solo, then that hurts. It hurts a lot of your T1s. But the siege solo it's not damaging ones a lot if you don't have too big layers. And it depends what kind of T1s we have. It's completely different. Right now, I think we can extinguish T1s from defense keeps. And those defense keeps, which are like 8 billion power, are very, very strong, and they can hold 5K buffs, no problem. I think Rom
What?
saw that. Yeah, you saw that last time when we played Battlefield. I was zeroed, and I just killed 800 million T1s and I think 150Ks of layers, all layers. And this is how it's impossible even to clean. You have to you're supposed to hit solos immediately, like 3-4 attacks, and this is the only way to kill the T1s. It will survive for several solo attacks without any problem.
No, you haven't seen Geek's a Trap Breaker Marsh. Geek has a Trap Breaker Marsh,
Yeah,
which
well,
No,
I'm not
heals.
you're
speaking about
confusing it
marches
with.
like.
So in the match that we played, the scores were too close. That's the only reason you weren't getting like soloed. Because if we hit you once and then you go and continue to heal, then yes, it's not enough to one tap you, but we could have easily two tapped you. But the
Of course,
scores were too
this is what I'm
close.
saying. Yeah, but if you're for me, it was with the new update that Evany made, that you can heal in the battlefield in the front page. You don't have to enter the hospital, so you can heal.
Mhm.
So it's a very good advice for trapped players to heal layers. So you have a march prepared only with the layers, and you just heal layers. On each solo they send you, just heal layers, and you survive longer. It's
Oh yeah, 100%.
just yeah, it's longer, and another solo, especially when they send like a range and a siege, range, cuff, ground. They will all splat if you don't, if you still have cuffs in the house. So this is my experience, and I played in a bigger alliance even before I joined GOT, and we were facing like 5K, 500, 2,000, 3,000. So solos, I could take those with layers of 150K layers, and but again, it depends. This is not whoever asks you how big layers do we have to have for the trap keeps, and how many T1s we have. It all depends on the buffs. So this is what usually we all have to speak about. It's first the buffs, and how big the buffs are of the trap keep. He will survive longer, isn't it?
I mean, even like, outside of traps or not traps, like defense is always a threefold thing, right? So you've got your buffs, you've got your debuffs, and your troop comp. So all three things need to work towards a common goal. If that's not happening, then you're not gonna survive attacks. You're not gonna be a strong defense keep. So you just need to sort of pick what your poison is and work towards eliminating that. Like, what is the thing that's prone to hurt you most, and try and mitigate that as much as possible, and then just take hits from that. And you know the biggest thing is knowing what you can and can't be hit with. Like, it's pointless if you get hit with something that absolutely decimates you, and then you go and try again and get hit with the same thing. You know, it's not gonna change anything. You've got to analyze your own reports, and you've got to understand what the limitations are to your account and try and mitigate that as much as you can. And, you know, whether that's by increasing your buffs or increasing your debuffs or changing your troop comp or just completely avoiding getting hit with that. It's, you know, the way you do it is up to you, but the only thing is you've got to, you know, understand what you can and can't get hit with and try and work within that limit.
So I have to go, but I need to ask this question before I did. Um, do refines on the general gear, on sub-general's gear, do those work? Because I'm hearing both. Like I'm
No, they
hearing
don't.
some things, no, yes.
As in, they work for the
I mean,
troops in your
exactly.
subs, but
Yeah,
that's not.
exactly. Yeah,
Right,
like
but
if
I
you have
mean,
a K40 sub, if you have a K40 subs, you have range attack. Those T15s will have that. But except that, no.
Yeah, it doesn't apply to your main troops. It only
But
applies to those subs.
very
right, but
And
I
funnily, if
mean
you have,
like, I mean
but
like
very funnily, if you
more
have like all K40 subs, your solo does get a lot more powerful.
if you're refining on your sub-general gear.
If you have K40 subs, yes.
Okay,
And if
because I
you,
am a
if
K40,
you,
but
no, if you have K40 subs,
okay,
your subsidy is K40. Like the
right.
subsidy has T15, and you gem and train all those troops, then your solos get a lot more powerful. Yes.
Oh, okay. As long as you're sending the sub-generals with your march,
It's very costly. It's very costly to
I can imagine.
gem the
Okay.
T15 subs. Yeah.
Well, the reason I asked is because I actually did put like the training speed refines on some of the gear, and I found that that does actually work. And so,
yeah, I mean that those things do work, but then is it worth the cost of it is the
no,
question, right?
obviously,
Because
no,
you can use refine stones in a lot of other venues to push your buffs up. That'll help you a lot more than what your training speed on your sub would do.
right. But I mean, you're talking about traps right now, and so, but my assumption is because I'm not a trap keeper, like the people that I do know who are trap keeps, they're usually linking or unlinking their subs depending upon what they're encountering, right? So if someone
I
were
wouldn't
to,
say that. I mean, if you're a ghosting keep, yes, but if you're a trap keep, you've got to keep your subs linked and make sure they're alive. Because
right,
without debuffs, a trap isn't gonna stand up to shit.
okay, all right. I just keep mine linked, so I just whatever unlink it. But thanks for doing this, by the way, and I hope you all have a great day.
You too.
Guys, I gotta go to. According to Rom, my imaginary girlfriend is throwing a tantrum. So best of luck,
Yeah.
guys. Bye.
All right, catch you later. If no one's got any other questions, I'll kind of wrap this up. If you do, just raise your hand and I'll pull you up on stage.
Hi, thanks for getting me up here.
No worries.
Hey, one question. If you don't have a complete set of choreo gear, is it
Mhm.
better to have like all Parthian gear for a trap keep, or like 2 times and 2 times and 2 times? So you kind of, what's the best gear scenario?
I mean, as a trap keep, I would say it really doesn't matter all that much, because if you're talking a pure trap keep, then you're gonna have whatever troop type you've picked to be the most, and then the rest of it's gonna be all, low. They're basically gonna be lower tier plus layers, right?
Mhm.
Unless you're talking about a rally keep with meat shield, then that's a different discussion. But if it's a pure trap keep, then it really doesn't matter if you've got Civ gear or not. You could just even go full party, and you may as well push your debuffs up that little bit, the 18% for the 6-piece bonus on top
Okay.
of all your subs. So yeah, it really depends on what you're sort of looking for.
Yeah, I thought maybe the trade-off might be with the Civ gear that you could refine your flats a little higher.
No, the
Uh,
flats are the same cap between your
or the
Civ
same.
gear and your Parthian gear. The flats are the same cap. It doesn't
Okay.
go up. The
Okay.
cap increase on the Civ gear is only for percentage.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's good to know. I didn't realize that. Thank you.
Yep, no worries.
All right. Well, thank you, and thank you for doing this.
No worries. All good.
Have a good day.
You too.
I guess my question would be, we only have like one coiner that has like really good buffs and can actually defend on his own. In my alliance, I'm in a smaller alliance, and trying to support by flipping portals and doing what I can. I have a T1 build, but I've been hesitant to train T3 and T4 calves because I'm afraid of giving up too many points. Or do you think, since the buffs we're facing are like 4,200 buffs, I get hit soloed a few times at rapidly and I'm gone. So would that help me to survive just a little bit longer?
Yeah, it would increasing your I see a lot of people saying, "Oh, you need to finish your 2.1 or 2.2 whatever billion T1 mounted, and before you move on to the other layers." It's not the way that I would interpret things, because the different layers do change the way the turns work. Because of the turns work, they change your enemies targeting sort of so if you've got, say, T3 and you've got a thicker layer of T3, they probably use up one turn before they start hitting your T2 and then your T1s. So having a volume in different layers, actually it definitely helps. But the flip side to that argument's always going to be your power trade-off is going to be that bit higher. Like if you lose 800 mil T1s or if you lose 400 mil T2s, that the trade-off kind of changes, right? So that's the thing that you'd need to sort of worry about. Like building a T3 and T4 calves will definitely help you survive longer, but those hits where they get those T3 and T4 would sort of give away a bit more points than a T1 would.
Okay. All
So
right.
if you're happy with that, your team's happy with that, and the goal becomes survivability, then that's definitely the route to go.
All right. Yeah, and because I think overall I would still come out positive on all the trades,
Mm-hmm.
over
Yep.
the time. So it really
Yep.
wouldn't. The big worry for me was that I would become a keep that would be giving up fewer points than what I was earning, because we still really need to win, because
Mm-hmm.
he's gotten into All Stars multiple times, and we're trying to get him up to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my big concern about training them beforehand, because I don't want to bleed points and cause our battlefields for us to lose, because we got to win every time. All right, well, I think that answers my question. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for
No
doing
worries.
this.
So somebody asked in the chat about having a mixed wall with ground and mounted and refines for both troop type. It works and it doesn't. Like the way I look at it, and this is a personal opinion than anything else, is you're better off being the master of one than the jack of all trades. Like if you've got adding more troops is always gonna end up with you getting hit with multiple different things and giving away points. So it's just a matter of, okay, is it gonna be worth that trade-off? Do you get hit a lot with, I don't know, maybe range that you're considering having that T1 ground wall to help with? But even then, it's always you're taking away half of the efficiency of your calves to give a half to your ground. So it's just, it's a balance, and you need to find what balance works for you. Against the keeps that I play with from being in ViG, it's not really an option because they're like really strong keeps. So if I kind of give out a little bit of what my current level is and how much I'm efficient, I probably end up losing more by doing that than by not doing it. So it's again a lot of things. As much as it looks like the answer is going to be it depends, it really is. We don't want to give blanket statements and advice that's not going to work, and that's why we kind of ask these questions to know your keep, to know what you're getting hit with before we give you any advice, because we don't want to say something that would work for a certain criteria, not for the others, and then you get fucked because of it. We don't want that. So it's always going to depend on a lot of different things. So it's just I mean, if you are a free to play player and you're experimenting with stuff and have fun with it, it's not the end of the world, right? Worst case scenario, you just work back, as in like get rid of those ground troops or whatever, and put your refines back on your calves. It's something that you're gonna have to try and find out if it works for you against the people that you play with. But in general, sort of common sense perspective, reducing efficiency on one thing to give half an efficiency on the other thing isn't really something that I'd advise. All right, I think that kind of brings us to the end of the questions. Thanks everyone for joining in, and if you've got any more questions that you haven't sort of gotten out here, or if you want to have a chat about things, you can post it in the general chat or in the nerd corner, and someone's always going to be around to kind of answer it and help with things. Hope this has been useful for you guys. See you on the next one. Cheers.